Travis is the guy, and this is a young man who I think everyone knows. He's from the West Palm Beach area. He set a school record. Probably wouldn't have picked that out, right? Who is the record holder, rushing yards for a quarterback at Florida State? It's not E.J. Manuel. He ran for 827 yards back here for FSU during his incredible career. Wasn't Christian Ponder, one of my broadcast partner colleagues at ESPN. Christian ran for 833 yards during his career. Jimbo is the offensive coordinator. There's Charlie Ward, 889 yards. That was the record, but Jordan has broken that up. You know, EJ is here today as one of the honorary coaches, one of the great FSU QBs of all time. He's with Larisha.
EJ, how are you feeling about this atmosphere today?
Well, look, I'm feeling great. It's amazing to be back in Tallahassee. I was reluctant to be here last summer watching the team. Obviously, anytime you get a chance to play in front of the fans, it's going to be a great moment. So I'm excited for the guys today, but obviously happy to be back. And I got my play call sheet, so I'm going to be doing a little coaching in the second half. So hopefully, get some touchdowns during that. Okay,
honorary coach. Jordan Travis, the guy for this team. He actually broke one of your records. What is your analysis of his play?
You had to bring that up. Look, I'm so proud for Jordan. One, because I know the toll that it takes on you as a quarterback here. It's a lot of work and a lot of expectation. You always want to win, but the fans want you to win too, and they'll let you hear about it. So I'm proud of him, and he's doing a great job. I watched him in practice yesterday. He looked sharp, he looked confident, and obviously he has complete command of the team and the offense. So I'm glad he's probably going to break a couple more of my records as he continues to play, but in all seriousness, when he goes, Florida State goes, so I'm excited for him.
You also have another guy in Tate Roadmaker. What do you think about his play?
Tell you what, when I watched him play, he impressed me. It was really my first time, practice yesterday. It was my first time seeing him live in action. He's a big guy, he's long. So it's good to know that if something does happen to Jordan, if he has a shoelace that breaks or something during the season, we got another guy that can come in and make plays and continue and keep the offense going, because, again, that's what you got to have in college football now. You got to put up points, and if you can't do that, it's hard to win.
You know what it takes to win an ACC championship. What is it going to take for these guys to sort of turn the table and get on a better foot?
You know what? When we did it, it was a team thing. I had great teammates around me, great running backs, great offensive linemen. And, we were lucky because the next year we won a national championship, so we were right on the brink of being champions anyways. But looking back on it, I just think the team aspect we had, we all believed in each other. And our best practices were, against each other. When we were kind of running stuff during the summertime, holding each other accountable, everybody was going to class, just doing everything that we needed to do to have the formula to win. So I'm seeing that from this team as well. I'm not saying national championship is coming, but I do think they're on the way to getting back there.
Now, you are the honorary coach. You said you got your plays with you right here. What can we expect from the offense today?
You know what? I'm a quarterback, so I'm going to use this kind of like Madden. And in Madden, I threw the ball a lot, so I'm going to be completely honest. The quarterback's going to love me. But, in the spring game, the defense, and I told you this, the defense has the advantage. They've had 14 practices to have an idea, okay, they're going to do this based off the formation. But look, I'm going to call some plays. It's a lot of guys to make plays, and B-Mac's going to be calling the defense. So I just want to score at least 2 touchdowns. I'll be happy with that.
Thank you so much, EJ.
Thank you.
Back to you, Bill.
Yeah, I don't think EJ is going to call many running plays here today. By the way, that gentleman that just had the interception, that's a true freshman, Sam McCall, one of the guys that Norvell and his staff are so excited about. This is to start things off today. They're going through their 2-point conversion attempts. McCall basically had not a pick 6, but a pick going the other way on the 2-point conversion. They're really excited about that guy. I don't know, and they don't know yet if he plays this fall. He could redshirt. Well, you never know. A play like that shows he understands what's happening.
I think he plays this fall. He's a kid. He's 6'1". He's got great size at about 190 pounds. The number 2 athlete on ESPN's list. And when you look at his ability, he comes out of a great system down in Lakeland, Florida. When you look at the 2-point conversions, every team has 2 or 3 plays that they kind of keep, that they don't run, because there may be a situation where you miss an extra point. There may be a situation where you're going for the win at the end of a game, or there may be a situation where you're in overtime and you have to go for 2 points. So you want to keep those plays, so you want to practice those and be ready to run that play.
So that's what we're starting with today. These are FSU's various 2-point attempts and another interception. Now, EJ made a really good point. The defense is ahead of that because they've been going through this in practice. There's only so many 2-point plays you have. So the defense kind of knows what 5 or 6 might be coming at this point, right?
Absolutely. There's a lot of familiarity with the defense, but that offensively gives you an opportunity to work, and you have to work that much harder on your route. Be precision with your route running. You know, the offensive line has to do a better job of keeping the defensive line's hands down because they know it's going to be a quick pass. So a lot of the time, the defensive linemen are going to try and get their hands up to knock the ball down. So it's an opportunity to practice and perfect, you know, your plays. You hope to score on those plays, but you want to perfect running the plays and be precision-wise.
This is something that you probably will see when they go for 2 this year, and that is Travis running the football.
Absolutely. Once again, his ability to get outside and what he's able to do when he's outside of the pocket makes him one of the more dangerous quarterbacks in the ACC and one of the more dangerous quarterbacks in college football because he runs it extremely well, he's extremely fast, but the pocket has been very successful for this offense.
All right, now they're going to let A.J. Duffy run a 2-point conversion. So, again, A.J. is originally from California, played last year at the IMG Academy, and this is his official FSU debut, at least in the spring game. A 2-point conversion attempt for Duffy. And that's going to be intercepted in the end zone. So the defense is ahead of the offense, at least on the 2-point conversion, a part of the spring game here at FSU. Seminole fans are here for the Garnet and Gold game at the Doak, the Florida State spring game. Bill Roth, Fort Conley with you today. Seminole fans are here. Now, this drill is really interesting. It's really a kickoff return drill, but they're not putting the ball in the air so that you can do more drills quickly, correct?
Well, it looks like they're looking at that first cut. When you look at kickoff returns, usually the first cut determines whether or not you're going to get positive yards, and it's about reading your blockers and the blockers making the correct block and staying in their lanes. So
over the years, FSU has made so many game-changing special teams plays, whether it's Dion on a punt return or Buckley blocking a punt, right? How many big special teams plays have helped FSU win over the years?
I mean, so many you can't name. I mean, you talk about Corey Sawyer, Deion Sanders, of course, Terrell Buckley, Leroy Butler. I mean, so many guys have made so many plays on special teams. You know, and you talk about the kickers, the great kickers we've had at this program. You know, Sebastian Janikowski, of course, Robert Aguayo, you know, Graham Gano. I mean, just so many great special teams players that have helped us, you know, win championships.
The way the spring game will be played here today, we had the 2-point conversion attempt. Now they're working on this special kickoff coverage group, and then we'll actually play 2 halves of football.
Absolutely.
But it does give a chance. There's so many players. I mentioned that there are 23 newcomers, but there's over 100 guys overall dressed out today. And so to try to get everybody involved, there's a lot of extra drills. It's really just the final practice of the season.
Well, it's a great opportunity to practice everything. You can't just practice offensive plays and defensive plays. You've got to practice special teams. You've got to practice those specialty plays like we just saw earlier with the 2-point conversions. You want to be hitting on all cylinders.
Coach is calling the guys over. We'll step aside when we come back. Real football from Tallahassee, the FSU spring game on ACC Network. We are back in Tallahassee. The Marching Chiefs are blaring. They've got the war chant going here, and we are ready for some football. If you're an FSU fan or an FSU great, as you are, what do you want to see today?
I want to see consistency from the offensive line. I want to see the tackles keep the width of the pocket. I want to see the guards keep the depth of the pocket, being stout at the point of attack and giving Travis the time that he needs to look down the field and get the ball to his playmakers.
First play. This is Lawrence Toafili, who's been one of the real stories of this spring for FSU, the sophomore from St. Petersburg. He has really changed his body. He's done a really nice job for number 9 in white.
What I love about Toafili is his running style. He reminds me of Edgar Bennett. You know, he's got great body control and great vision. He just needs more opportunities.
He got 4 yards on that play, and they give it to him again, and that's enough for the first down to the 37-yard line. You know, a year ago, Jordan Travis was a guy that we wanted to see what he could do if he put it all together for the Noles, and he did. We knew all about him and his brother and whatnot, but he ended up breaking the FSU single-season rushing record for quarterbacks. Started at Louisville, originally out of South Florida in West Palm Beach. Toafili again to the 39-yard line. All right, you mentioned the offensive line. That's kind of the key to FSU, and it's been an issue, right, systematically overall for the program over the last couple of years.
Well, what you want to see, you want to see the guards be able to be stout. You want to see the guards be able to climb up to the second level and cover up those linebackers. Florida State has an elite group of running backs, but they have to be able to get to that second level. You don't want your backs getting hit at the point of attack.
Here's a deep pass, and it's incomplete. You know, the offensive line coach and offensive coordinator, which in itself is a story, Alex Atkins, who's done an amazing job at several different schools. He says, I know our offensive linemen have the ability. They're well recruited. They were highly recruited kids, but the key to us is the understanding and the technique, and that doesn't happen overnight.
Well, one thing I like what Coach Atkins said is he's challenging all of his offensive linemen, especially the new guys that came in. He's putting them in difficult, tough situations because he wants to see how they respond, because that lets you know whether or not a guy is ready to step in and play.
Passing situation now for Travis. It is 3rd down, and they're calling it 8. Travis to the air, and that's completed for the first down. Nice catch at the 49-yard line to Treshawn Ward. Let's go down to Larisha with another great FSU Nole of the pass, Danny Cannell.
Danny, spring showcase for 2022. How would you describe this atmosphere?
It's great. I tell you, I came up here with my daughter to show her Florida State. It's her first time here, and not only today's atmosphere, but the events leading up to it. They had a Hall of Fame ceremony last night, little varsity club golf tournament yesterday, ton of action going on, softball. We went to a softball game, beach volleyball game. It's a great display for Florida State.
You were able to play with guys like Charlie Ward. What was it like? What was that camaraderie like on that team?
It was awesome. Almost as good as playing with Forrest Connolly. That's my guy, Big Bo. I mean, I had guys like that, Charlie. We had such a great atmosphere here. The camaraderie, the teamwork, the family that was here was something special, and that's what they're trying to build here. When you talk to Coach Norvell, that's why he had a bunch of former players like EJ and Pete Boulware and B-Mac. That's why he's got us back, to try to instill that family atmosphere back here in Tallahassee.
You've had a chance to watch Jordan. What's your thoughts on his game?
So I thought last year he really finished the back end of the season with a lot of confidence, better decision making. He's a dual threat, and now he's really coming in. He's taking charge of this team. So he's had a whole offseason to be the leader. So I'm excited to see what he does this year. I think the expectations are going to be high for him, but I think he's ready to live up to them.
A lot of talent in the tight end room, in the running back room, wide receiver room. How are they going to be able to manage all of it? I
know. Well, I mean, you got to spread it around. That's part of it. I had a lot of talent. You just got to keep them all happy. You got to feed them all a little bit and make sure you distribute the ball. But I tell you, the one thing that stands out to me is the length, tall. And when I go out across the country as an analyst and I watch Clemson or Alabama or Ohio State, that's the one thing I notice is how long teams are. And we didn't have that. And now we're starting to get it. You're starting to see it show up. So that's why I'm real excited about this offense and what it can do.
Thank you so much, David.
Thank you.
Danny Cannell, interesting, he's bringing his daughter on a college visit. How's that make you feel?
Hey, my daughter already graduated.
Imagine walking around campus and like the freshmen have no idea. Who's the guy from Fort Lauderdale walking around with his daughter? About the receivers last year, those are the numbers of the guys from last year for FSU. They've added some depth. There are some newcomers here. There's going to be some competition in that wide receiver room.
Well, the thing about the wide receivers, if the offensive line can get it together and you can go 4 and 5 wides, now you've got talent all over the field for Jordan to spread that ball around. So you like the idea of all the talent that they have in that receiver room. The guy I want to see most is Johnny Wilson, 6'7", playing wide receiver. Usually guys that tall are putting their hand in the ground and playing tight end. So to have him split out wide, if you can get him down the field, and from what I saw in practice, he's got the speed to stretch the field. Yeah. You get a guy 6'7" down the field, I'm just going to throw it up and tell him to go get it.
Now, when you think about FSU receivers traditionally, like Danny said, length has always been the thing, right? Mm-hmm. Over the years, the FSU guys are always like 6'3", 6'4".
Well, when I played, we had a guy named Andre Cooper, 6'3". he would jump over guys and grab the football. So you traditionally will get 2 or 3 of those guys in the program. So when you look at Kelvin Benjamin is another guy. Remember the great catch he made to win the national championship in the Rose Bowl. So we've traditionally had bigger receivers at Florida State University. Now you bring in some more big receivers. You give Jordan Travis more talent to throw the football to.
No score in the first quarter of the Garnet and Gold spring game. Duffy with the toss. This is a pretty good run for Benson, who in itself is a terrific story. The young man who transferred from Oregon. We talk about one of 23 newcomers, but this is one of the biggest names, Benson. And how is his knee? What will his role be?
Well, you saw what Coach Norvell said about Benson earlier in the open. He talked about him being a home run hitter. And you saw the speed right there. He got to the outside and got down the field. And when you have playmakers like that, it allows you to be an offense that can do a lot of things and not just be one-dimensional.
Benson's 215, but he may be the fastest guy. He has to get over the knee thing, though, right? Because that was a huge thing for him. If he can, he's a breakaway back.
Well, the thing about a knee injury, it usually takes a year after the surgery to kind of get that confidence back in yourself. There are some special guys that can do it the following year, but it usually is a year until you feel the confidence to get, on that knee and cut off of that knee.
There's another speed guy. We watched him run yesterday. DJ Williams, he's a guy that started at Auburn. He can really run. There's never a lack of guys with speed at Florida State, whether it's the receivers or the backs. William, they list him at 5'10", 205. He got 20 yards on that run. This is his 3rd year in the program. That ball thrown to the outside. They're going to say, yes, it's a catch. Poitier from Coconut Grove in South Florida make that catch.
And that was great body control to catch the ball, keep his feet in bounds, and make sure you have possession and squeeze the football.
They're going a little tempo here, no huddle. They do these plays. Now to the other side, and that's incomplete. Let's look at Poitier's catch. This was really well thrown. He did a nice job to stay in play.
Well, you see him with the body control. He's able to contort his body, turn to the outside, squeeze the football to make sure he has the reception. And that was good coverage on the outside. And that's that freshman, once again, Sam McCall, showing his ability to cover on the outside. But it was a greater catch by the receiver.
Talking with Coach Norvell, he said, our offense is built for playmakers. We're going to put the ball in the air. We're going to let our guys make plays. That ball's on the ground for the first time today. Of course, what's he mean by that? He says, we're going to get our guys the ball. They just have to make plays, and the guys who do are the guys who are going to play.
Well, he's trying to let the fan base know and everybody know that this is an exciting offense. It's not going to be boring. We're not going to try and just run the ball down someone's throats. We're going to try to score the football. That is what he's saying. That is what he's selling, and that is why recruits are coming to the program, because they want to play in an exciting offense that creates energy within the stadium and within the fan base.
Travis lets it go, and that's incomplete. It was intended for Jackson West, the tight end. They've got a full room in the tight end room as well. This is where FSU was last year in the ACC. And again, those are not the numbers that they want to see.
Well, you've got something to improve upon and something to work towards. Once again, I think what the team has to understand is you can't worry about what you can't control, and that's what has already happened. What you can do is look at what you did not do well last year and make sure that you get better.
Ryan Fitzgerald going to try a 50-yard field goal to break the ice, but it's blocked. A big block kick, and that's going to be returned. They're going to blow it dead. Those are just the rules of this game, but that would have been a blocked kick for a touchdown. It remains scoreless in the Garnet and Gold game at Doak Campbell. Scoreless game, first quarter, the Garnet and Gold game, the Florida State spring game on the campus of Florida State University. No huddles, they're going fast today here at Doak Campbell Stadium. Jordan Travis to the air again. And he pulls up. So the rules here today, if you haven't been able to catch by watching it, you can't hit the quarterback.
Absolutely not.
Don't touch the quarterback. You'll hear from Coach Norvell.
I wouldn't even touch. I mean, I wouldn't do anything. When I see him coming, I'm backing away. You'll lose your scholarship. You hit the quarterback.
Well, there's good and bad, right? Because Jordan knows he's not going to get hit. So you may stay in the pocket a little bit longer, which isn't a real fair test. But as a defensive player, you got to pull up as well. You got to miss if you're coming hard to get the QB here.
But what's been impressive so far, I think the offensive line has done a really good job of giving him a pocket to throw the football. And as I say that, he gets pressure right in his face. But, overall, I think the offensive line is doing a pretty good job. And once again, when you look at the guards in the center, they've got to be stout at the point of attack and punch and keep those guys at bay. In the tackles, you have to get 3 kick steps back. Then you can open that outside shoulder and run those defensive ends past the quarterback.
You want to coach the O-line. Could you block Peter Boulware?
At times.
Oh, let's find out. Larisha, Forrest says he could block.
I don't know. He's one of the most successful pass rushers in program history. So, I don't know. Forrest, our analyst on the call today, said that he could block you.
Oh, man. Those are back in my good days, man. I had some fun times here at Florida State. Those are good days.
Speaking of that, how was it for you?
It was really, really good. I mean, I love my opportunity here. I mean, playing at Florida State under Coach Bobby Bowden, it changed my life. And so glad that I had the opportunity to do it.
Does it amaze you that you still hold the single season record for 19 sacks?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I mean, it really was. But I had a lot of help. I had Renard Wilson, Andre Wadsworth, Greg Spires. Just the athletes that we were playing with was incredible. Mickey Andrews, Jim Glad, the coaches. We had everything going for us, and so just a special time at Florida State, and we're hoping to see the same thing with Coach Norvell and this team as well.
A lot of competition, a lot of depth on the defensive backfield. What are your thoughts on the multitude of players, the talent that's there?
Yeah, I love the direction that they're going. I mean, we had a couple of hiccups the last couple of years, but what Coach Norvell is doing and just the depth and the people and the quality of athletes that he's bringing to this program, it's going to be pretty special. It takes time to build a great program, and so, again, just happy to see the direction that we're going, the discipline that we have, and hopefully we'll be back on top pretty soon.
So since you're happy with the direction, what are your expectations for this team heading into the fall?
Well, I mean, I want us to do better than we did last year. Again, as long as we're getting better, as long as we're fundamentally doing the right things, as long as we're recruiting good players, the wins will come. You can't build a dynasty. You can't build it overnight. But as an ex-player, I want to see them do it the right way, build it slow, build a foundation that'll last a long time. And that's what Bowden did. He built something that lasts for a really, really long time, and we're looking for Coach Norvell to do the same thing.
As the honorary coach, what are you expecting to see today?
As a coach, I was a pass rusher, so I'm bringing everybody. I'm rushing as many as I can. As someone who loves sacks, I want to see sacks from this team. So when I'm calling with this play sheet, I'm calling to get after the quarterback.
One of the players, Derrick Mcclendon, told me that it is his goal to get 40 sacks between himself and Jared Verse.
Yeah.
What does it take to get that many?
It takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of effort. A lot of things have to go your way. I mean, if he wants it, he can get it. If he wants the sacks, he can get it. But it just takes a lot of effort, a lot of work. And the ability is there. You just have to get your hand in the dirt and make it happen.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
Coming up next here on ACC Network, the spring football season rolls on with another look at NC State spring game from Raleigh. And we'll cap off the day with a Pitt Blue Gold game at Heinz Field as we continue to look at next season's ACC teams before they open the season in September. Those guys are ready to go, those dudes. How long it takes to get that outfit going? Do you ever dress like that, folks?
It'll take a whole lot of glitter for me to get dressed up like that.
There's some serious garnet and gold glitter. They open against Duquesne here, and then on this field, LSU visits Florida State, then Louisville. That's a fun September for sure. Then BC and Wake. Strong schedule.
Absolutely, but it's an opportunity to get better, and that's what you look at. You want to play big games early to see how good you are and how far you've come.
Talking about LSU, you and I were talking about it when Coach Bowden first came here. They scheduled that series with LSU, and at that point they weren't ready to play home and home with the Noles, and so they had to play a whole bunch of the games in Baton Rouge, and the Noles went there and won 5 in a row at Tiger Stadium.
And honestly, that's what attracted me to the program when I was being recruited here, because FSU was known to go anywhere and play against anybody at any time.
Well, what Coach Bowden would tell you is because they wouldn't come here. But, you know, it's one of those situations. If people aren't going to play you, think about the situation in the 70s, right, when Coach first came. Florida State wasn't going to get home and homes with SEC teams at that point. He had to go to LSU, beat them, and then all of a sudden you start winning the games, the fans start coming, the stadium expands, and then you've got a dynasty.
Well, when you think about it, my first year here, we went to Michigan. We put 51 on Michigan at Michigan. You know, that's the most points anyone had scored up to that point. I don't know if that record has been broken as of yet, but that is what the intrigue was about Coach Bowden. He didn't care. You know, you want to play us home and home. Home and home back at your place. We'll play you 2 times in a row. We don't care. We just want to play you. We just want to show who we are and build merit. And that is, I think, what made him such a great coach. He was never scared to accept the challenge of playing anybody, anywhere.
14 years in a row, from 1987 through the 2000 season, the Noles finished either 4th, 3rd, 2nd, or 1st in the final AP poll. That is incredible, the consistency. And everyone says he built this stadium in so many ways he did.
Absolutely. I remember when they started the new construction on the stadium, we would have to dress in the visitors' locker room, walk across the game field, and walk down Stadium Drive with our pads to practice every day. So by the time you got to the practice field, you'd be soaking wet because it's 95 to 100 degrees. You're carrying these pads down Stadium Drive. Fans and people driving up Stadium Drive would be honking their horns because you see the whole team in a line in unison walking down. But we were building, and I think that is what you continue to see with this program. They're continuing to build upon the championships that they've won.
Coach Norvell, yeah, he said they've got over 100 recruits here today. So when you were being recruited, everyone in this part of the country offered you. Do you recall the spring of your recruiting season, what that was like, and then why you finally did pick Florida State?
Well, I picked Florida State because of Coach Bowden. I wanted to play for him. I wanted to help him win his first championship. I wanted to be a part of something special. And, you know, Tallahassee is a great place to play. The fan base is great. And, you know, being honest, Florida A&M University also promotes a lot of players coming here because you get the black college experience as well, you know, for some of the African-American players. So heavy of opportunities here to be great. And when you can play for what I consider the greatest coach of all time, why not take that opportunity?
You broke a lot of hearts at other places, though, when you signed. Dennis Erickson still talk to you? Nope. Case, those calls stopped coming?
Oh, bad. Well, you know, they're still mad at me because I canceled on my official visit day and committed to Florida State that day. So they're still not happy with me.
You did what? You canceled your official visit to Miami?
On the
day you committed to Florida State?
I was supposed to fly out at 5 o'clock that afternoon. I called him at 3:30 and said, Coach, I'm not going to make it. I'm committed to Florida State.
Oh, they don't like you at all, Coral Gables, dude.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But it was a great decision.
Yeah, it was for you, no doubt about it. You could not have made a bad choice, man. You had all the great offers. That was another 22-yard run by Benson. You know, we're joking around a little bit. This could be a really key guy for FSU this season. The transfer from Oregon. He may be one of the more intriguing newcomers in the ACC this year.
Well, the thing, they've got so many weapons on the offensive side of the football, and once again, it continues to key if the offensive line can protect and block. If they can, you've got playmakers that can make plays, and I think that is what, you know, Coach Norvell was talking about as far as an exciting offense. You know, they're going to try and get the ball down the field.
Roadmaker to the end zone, and it's incomplete in this scoreless game. It was intended for Johnny Wilson, the Calabasas, California product who started at Arizona State. That's just north of Los Angeles, one of those wealthy Southern California neighborhood. That's where our statistician Sean is from. He's a Calabasas guy. That's why we know that.
Now, I'd like to see them get Johnny Wilson spread out, one-on-one coverage on the outside, and throw the ball up on a corner route and see if he can go up and get it.
3rd and goal for Roadmaker. Oh, he delivered the ball beautifully, but I think they're going to whistle it dead. That is the downside. He really hung in there and made a nice throw, but the pressure was put on by Shaheem Brown. It's going to go as a sack. He made the right play, though, right? When they look at this in the film, they're going to go, nice job, Tate.
Absolutely, and what they're going to say to the offensive line, give him another second, and we've got a touchdown. That's the difference between making a block, getting a hand on a defender. 1 second can change the outcome of a play.
Field goal attempt to try to get some points on the board now. Fitzgerald had his first attempt from 50 yards blocked. This is going to be a 31-yard attempt for Ryan Fitzgerald. Redshirt sophomore. His big kick last year, of course, was the game winner against Syracuse. And we have our first point. Speaking of kickers, Rich is down on the field with Graham Gano.
Graham, you were one of 8 Seminoles inducted into the Hall of Fame this weekend. How would you describe that moment?
Surreal. You know, it's a dream come true for me as a kid to play here at Florida State. You know, it's really a dream come true, and so having that honor last night with my family there, with my wife and 5 kids and my parents and brothers, it was pretty special for me. So I don't think it's hit me yet, but it's definitely a good feeling.
What's one thing that you learned from the legendary Bobby Bowden, who you were able to play for?
I think it was faith, family, and football. You know, those are 3 most important things, and you know, just fighting through injuries and still, you know, giving your all every single day. He was one of the best men I've ever known, and you know, I'm honored to have played for him.
Now that you've been able to take a look at the team, we know that special teams was an area of concern last year. What is it going to take for these guys to turn things around for the better?
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing with special teams. I feel like you can turn things around year in and year out, and I think they just have to stay attention to detail, you know, God, and you got to beat your opponent. You know, a lot of those moments on special teams is just man versus man, and I feel like, you know, guys learning from last year, coming into using that experience this year, they'll definitely come out on top.
You're heading into your 14th season in the NFL. What are you looking forward to the most?
I'm trying to win a Super Bowl. You know, I've played in one, but that's everybody's goal. Just try to make my team better, be a better leader for my team, and make my family, my kids happy on the field. So they want to keep seeing me play. So that's, you know, I'm getting to play a kid's game for a living, so it's a blessing in and of itself.
Thank you so much, Graham.
Thank you. Go Noles.
Graham Gano, the newest member, one of the newest members of the Florida State Hall of Fame. See, I know how you guys are. You all don't think kickers are players.
Oh, no, I love kickers.
Kickers are the key, man. Hall of Famer. Isn't that awesome for him and his family to see that this weekend?
Absolutely. And kickers need to get respect. Look, Scott Bentley, I love Scott Bentley. If Scott Bentley doesn't kick that kick, I don't have this ring on. So I love kickers. Kickers matter.
Kickers matter. That should be a hashtag, right? Hashtag kickers matter.
Absolutely.
You weren't saying that when you were running drills after practice and they were flipping the grass seed down on the practice field.
Hey, like I said, as long as they make the kick. You know, I was here for both wide rights. So, you know, when Scott got here, the pressure was on. Mm-hmm. And I tell people all the time, to me, he is the most accomplished athlete as far as pressure coming in as a true freshman in Florida State history. When you come in, you're on the cover of Sports Illustrated with DK, Danny Cannell, before the season starts, before you ever put a uniform on, then he kicks the winning field goal for national championship.
Here's Travis on a 3rd down play now for the Noles. And that's ruled incomplete. And another 3 and out. The Florida State defense continues to play well. The downside of it, you know, FSU was in the bottom in that passing attack last year. I think if you're a fan, you have to have some improvement with the passing game this fall.
But once again, you know, you've got a defense that's been playing against this offense all spring. They're very familiar with the play calling. So I'm not too concerned about that. Of course, you want to see some receptions from the offense. You want to see them move the ball effectively. But we always know that defenses are ahead of offenses because of the scheme and because of linemen coming in. You've got a lot of new linemen that they're trying to get acclimated to the program and to the system.
Mastromano punted it away. Again, there's in an effort to make sure no one gets hurt. They're not covering kicks. You're not rushing or potentially roughing a punter today. So they'll flip the field again, and the Gold will get the ball with 1:27 to go in the first quarter. State spring game, a beautiful day. It's a little chilly if you're not in the sun here today. Very breezy as well. It feels, candidly, like a fall football day.
And let me correct you, it's not chilly, it's cold.
This is cold in Tallahassee.
Yes, it is very cold right now.
It's 67 degrees.
But the wind, I mean, if you look at the flags, I mean, the wind is whipping out there. And that may be a factor, too, in throwing the football with the winds that we see right now.
Here's Duffy, and he gets it out quickly to Micah Pittman with his first catch of the day. Junior out of Tampa. Keep it on the ground on second down. That is Rodney Hill, the freshman from Statesboro, Georgia. And it'll bring up a 3rd down and 2 with under 1 minute to go in the opening quarter. Third down for Duffy. That ball's off fingertips of the intended receiver. That was Markston Dellis. McClellan broke it up. And it'll be 4th down, a 3 and out for the defense again as they shut down the true freshman Duffy. And the Noles will kick it away. The Gold team will kick it back to the Garnet team.
And I think for Markeiston, you want to see him squeeze that football. That's some of the things that you work on as a receiver. Squeezing the football, especially on windy days like this. You've got to be a hand catcher. You can't be a body catcher.
Coach Norvell said, I think the light turned on for several of our players in the last 10 days. That things, sometimes you watch practice and you wonder, are the guys getting it, right? He felt like the last 2 weeks, 10 days to 2 weeks, he could see a difference.
One thing he talked about is not hesitating. Guys just do it. And I think that is where you see improvement. A lot of times you saw guys in the last years or so where Florida State wasn't playing as well, looking like they just didn't know where to go and what to do. But now you see guys understanding what their role is, where they need to go, where they need to be, and not hesitating. Because when you hesitate now, that messes up the whole play. So I think that's the growth and maturity that you've seen.
Larisha, you and I and Forrest all visited with the coaches this week. You got that sense too, didn't you? The last 2 weeks, there was some improvement here.
For sure. And just like Forrest said, no hesitation. That's actually a part of one of the pillars that they have for this program, which is playing fast. Another pillar is playing smart, having the knowledge of the game, and then also playing physical, being aggressive in all aspects of your game, but especially mentally. And Coach Alex Atkins told us it's like drumline, one band, one sound.
Marching Chiefs are with you there. Another first down for Benson. He has been the lone offensive star of this game. Trey Benson in his Noles debut. Time for one more play in the first. Benson gets it again. And about 4 yards or so on the final play of the first quarter. When we come back, we are honoring the legendary voice of the Seminoles, Gene Deckerhoff. His final game today. You won't want to miss this. Coming up next. We are back in Tallahassee, Florida, Doak Campbell Stadium, the home of the Florida State Seminoles. It is the annual Garnet Gold Spring Game on ACC Network. Bill Roth, Forrest Connolly, Larisha Harris, your ACC Network crew today. And before the game, an incredible ceremony honoring 76-year-old Gene Deckerhoff, who began calling FSU games back in the 70s. Also the voice of the NFL's Tampa Bay Bucks. He got jersey number 43 today from the university president. Gene Deckerhoff calling his final game today. He has said, touchdown FSU 2,218 times in his career.
Extremely exceptional. It was an honor to play him, calling every single game that I've played on this field and away in the uniform. He's going to be greatly missed. He's just got one of those unique, dynamic voices that everybody recognizes.
I've known Gene for many decades as both the voice of the Noles and the voice of the Bucks. And what was amazing is he would do the Florida State games. He would come back. They would tape the Bobby Bowden show at 3 in the morning, and then he'd get to Tampa for the Bucks game all overnight.
Well, he's a multitasker. And he can get it done, and that's special. That's what's special about him. To be able to do as many years as he did here is special. But to do that and do what he's done at Tampa Bay, you hear the voice. It's just awesome, and it's going to be greatly missed.
We're going to listen to Gene call a few plays in a moment. Before kickoff today, I had a chance to visit with Gene on his final game here at FSU. Let me ask you this. We know what you mean to Florida State fans and these people. What do they mean to you? What do the Florida State fans mean to you?
Well, coming to the stadium today and walking around town, the Hall of Fame banquet last night, Gene, we love you, we love you. I mean, I work for the fans. Learfield may pay my paycheck, but I work for the fans. And if the fans listen and like what they hear, I love the fans. And by golly, if I make a mistake, let me know about it. And if you like what I say, keep telling me you like what you say. But no, I've been asked this question, obviously, since the announcement was made. And the number one thing I will miss is the fans listening to Gene and saying, Gene, we don't want you to go. I'm going to miss that. But it's time. And, Florida State University will be here forever, Bill. There's a timeline for voices, and my timeline is up. And so it is time to move on and do some other things.
Well, on behalf of college football fans everywhere, broadcasting colleagues from coast to coast, congratulations on an amazing career. You are an icon in our business and a treasure to college football, Gene.
Bill, thank you very much, and I hope today that you say many touchdown Florida States in our annual Garnet and Gold Spring game. Go Noles, and Bobby, we love you.
Thanks, man. What an amazing career he had, and the admiration for Coach Bowden that he has, very palpable.
Well, he saw it from start to the end, and for the selfish fan, you want him to continue to call the games and be a part of every Saturday with Florida State football, but you have to understand as well, he's done his job. It's time for him to ride off into the sunset and to be so honored to be a part of that process. The fans should do anything but smile and be happy and look forward to, Gene in retirement.
All right, if you've never had a chance to hear one of the greats, we're going to listen in just a moment to Gene. That distinctive voice, the touchdown FSU, the goal, go Noles, and always in garnet and gold.
Absolutely.
We'll take a listen here in just a moment to the great Gene Deckerhoff. Meanwhile, you can kind of see what Alex and the O-line are trying to do. They're getting Campbell into action a little bit now. They want to see that group run block a bit.
Well, this is grown man business now. That's when you run into football. It's called grown man business down in the trenches. Can you be the lower man? Can you keep your feet driving? Can you keep a wide base? Can you get inside hands? Can you get a push at the point of attack?
All right, let's listen in now on the Learfield radio aspect of things. Here's Gene Deckerhoff. But we'll have Gene in a second. They tossed to a commercial on the radio side, which Gene's probably doing, by the way, right? Right? It's like, Gene Deckerhoff, your local, Cadillac dealer, whatever it happens to be here. We'll get to Gene. Gene's smart now. He's savvy on and off the air, I assure you.
Oh, absolutely.
2nd and 10 for FSU. A 3-0 game. The gold team has the lead. All right, they're back from their commercial. Let's listen. Final game ever for Gene Deckerhoff. Take it away, my man.
Hill with the ball to the left. So we're seeing some of the guys we didn't see in the first quarter because Rodney Hill and C.J. Campbell are both true freshmen. And again, South Georgia kids. Listen to Danny Cannell, and the choke-a-doke was what the Seminole fans call it. Florida fans still think they won that game, William, but we know that when you're down 28 and you come back and tie at 31-31. But Danny's dad was the team doctor for the Miami Dolphins, as I recall the story, and he was a great baseball player growing up and playing high school. He wanted to play football. His dad did not want him to play football. All he did was engineer one of the greatest comeback games in the history of college sports, particularly Florida State sports, and will always be, as he mentioned to Tom in the interview.
Offside, on the baited to the quarterback. Defense, number 45. 5-yard penalty, remains third down.
Well, the penalty on the defense, one of the few penalties on the defense in this game, and Tate Roadmaker was in the bullseye. But back to Danny, his dad didn't want him to play football. He did, and the rest is history, and he played professional football, National Football League, and was drafted, I believe, 4th round. And he is going to be one of the team coaches on the sideline for the main event, which comes up after our scrimmage concludes this evening. Oh, and here's another quarterback sack, and this time big-time pressure from the outside on the right side, and there was just nowhere for the quarterback to go.
Yeah, that was great pressure right there off the defensive end.
That was Quayshawn Fuller.
All right, Q, he looked good coming off the corner on that one right there.
Yeah, Fort Myers, boy, he is a backup to Derrick Burris on the depth chart that I have. And Quayshawn Fuller with, you know what? He got to the quarterback really, really quick, didn't he?
Super.
Yeah, 4-star prospect out of high school, and had offers from a lot of schools. And, you know, if you get offered by Alabama and you come to Florida State, you're pretty high cotton, aren't you? Mm-hmm. And that's Quayshawn Fuller, number 30. You got Jared Verse, Quayshawn Fuller, Leonard Warner, Derrick McClellan, George Wilson, a couple of defensive tackle freshmen, Daniel Lyons and Bishop Thomas. You know, and that starting offensive line, we had a comment about Darius Washington moving to guard, and a fellow by the name of Bless Harris, who's a redshirt junior transfer from Lamar, starting now at right tackle. That's a luxury if you can move a big fella from tackle to guard. Now, Tom reported that Darius is injured, not playing today, but Zane Herring is seeing playing time tonight from Madison County High School. That Madison County coaching staff, Coach Coe, is moving north of the border. Coffee County, I believe, is where he is going to be the coach of the Trojans. And Madison County is going to continue to rebuild over there and send football players to Tallahassee, Florida, I hope.
The legendary Gene Deckerhoff. Can you say touchdown FSU, Forrest? Do it, man.
Touchdown FSU!
Welcome back to Doak Campbell Stadium. I'm standing alongside Bryant McFadden, who is a former cornerback for FSU. Bryant, how was it playing here at Florida State?
It was an unbelievable experience. Growing up as a child watching football, I hated Florida State. And I'm a Florida kid, you know what I mean? So I hated all the schools in the state of Florida. But oddly enough, I decided to come to Florida State because of the tradition, because of the prestige, and because of the ability to develop to get drafted in the National Football League. And I was able to achieve all of those things. And because of my love for Florida State, I'm back here once again today celebrating this spring experience.
Traditions that you used to look forward to when you stepped on this field or when you walked around campus?
Representing high-level defensive back play, all starting with one of the greatest to ever do it, and Deion Sanders, and then followed by guys like Terrell Buckley, Leroy Butler, Samari Rove, the who's of who. And currently the young group of guys, Jalen Ramsey, Derwin James, Asante Samuel Jr., and me being a secondary guy, I wanted to be a part of that brotherhood. Being coached by the legendary Coach Andrews, a guy who's taught some of the more prolific defensive backs in college history, being able to learn from him is something that was very, very important for me as well. So that meant a lot. And when you come here, you will always be a Seminole. You know what I mean? That's why we have so many guys always migrating back to little old Tallahassee, because of the family atmosphere.
The depth and the competition that this team has as it pertains to the secondary, what is the potential that this group has?
I think this group has the potential to be a very, very consistent, opportunistic group. When you look at some of the young up-and-coming players, Kevin Noles is a guy that I highlight quite often because he's consistent. And oh, by the way, he went to the same high school as me. Shout out to MacArthur High School in Hollywood, Florida. But they got some young guys, man. Cooper, Jamie Robinson in the secondary safety, former transfer from South Carolina. He's a guy that plays with an old school mentality. It's a personal battle for him. I think he's going to have an outstanding year. So me personally, the secondary is going to be talented, but also when you look at having great secondary play, you need to have great defensive line play, because when they put pressure on the quarterbacks, it makes the guys in the back end job easier.
Thank you so much, Brian.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Brian. Lawrence Toafili with the first touchdown of the game, and that makes it 9-0 for the Gold. All right, what was your favorite tradition? He talked about some of his favorite traditions. Forrest?
My favorite tradition was the ankle walk. When we would hold our helmets up and we would walk from the 50-yard line to the end zone, and they would play our fight song. That, to me, got me going. And I have to add, when Chief Osceola came out and threw the spear in the ground, but the ankle walk was just that thing. It was like, okay, it's time to go to work. It's time to do what we do, be special, beat the brakes off of whoever we're getting ready to play.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, retry.
Been a pretty clean game from a penalty standpoint. This will move the extra point back 5 yards. Aiden Shahariari, he's out of Clearwater. Didn't play last year. He could be a kicker for them this year. His claim to fame, he hit a 71-yard wind-aided field goal in the Coles National Senior High School game. And his extra point here is good, and the Gold leads 10-0. .6:23 to go in the FSU spring game. Toafili, the game's first touchdown. Sunday afternoon, a Florida State softball baseball doubleheader for you. It starts here in Tallahassee at noon Eastern. Third-ranked Seminoles hosting number 5 Virginia Tech in softball. That could be a College World Series preview. That'll be followed by number 20 FSU baseball in Atlanta to face Georgia Tech in Midtown Atlanta. Both games right here on ACC Network and also on the ESPN app. Hey, I went to the softball last night. Florida State, Virginia Tech, they're both ranked in the top 4. Could be a College World Series preview. That would be amazing for the ACC to have a couple of teams make it all the way out there.
But that's the strength of the ACC. You think about, look what we just saw in the Final Four. You had 2 ACC teams. Miami could have been a 3rd ACC team to make the Final Four. So I think the ACC is continuing to trend up in all sports.
What Jim Phillips, the commissioner, wants, you'd love to have it in more than just softball and soccer. You want to have number 4 Virginia Tech versus number 2 Florida State in this stadium.
Well, let's get it.
That's what you need to get. It's awesome in softball, and I hope they both make it to the College World Series, right? But what the league needs is to get back where the Noles and the Hokies, who played for the national championship game, get back to that level where they're playing really significant national games.
Well, when you think about it, back then you had Coach Beamer and Coach Bowden, 2 of the best coaches to ever do it. And so I think it's just been a transitional period for the programs. I think, Florida State has the right guy in place right now with Coach Norvell, and I think they're trending towards being what the expectation is, which is a 10, 11, 12-win team and competing for ACC and national championships. And like Peter Borwell said earlier, you can't build a champion overnight. You have to take baby steps, and they're moving in the right direction.
What is the key to it as someone who's been in this program from a recruiting standpoint? What do they have to do to get back to own this state, or at least get their share of the kids from this state?
Well, you've got to win. When you win, kids want to come and be a part of a winning tradition. So you've got to win. You've got to win big ball games. The Miami game last year was a huge win for this program, because you think of all of the recruits that were in the stands to feel the energy, to see the tomahawks chopping, to see the team continue to fight and get through that game and pull through and win. That is how you attract recruits. That is how you build winning programs, winning big ball games.
There's some of the recruits. We saw McCall, who made his FSU debut here today. He had that interception in the very first period that we showed you today on a 2-point conversion attempt. Duffy has played a lot today at quarterback. Thomas has been on the field today at safety. This the bottom two kids, again, to expect a true offensive lineman to come in and play, probably not fair for this year, but those top three, yeah.
Well, I tell you what, Julian Armella,
yeah,
I played with his dad.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've seen film on Julian Armella. He is an uber aggressive football player. He loves contact. He loves to fight. And he comes in with the grown man mentality. And if they put him inside, I think he's going to play guard for Florida State. And he's a big kid with long arms. And I think he can be an impact player early. I'm not saying he's going to come in and start, but he can be an impact player for this program.
Well, I saw him play. I'm not going to argue with him.
Number 1, 15-yard penalty.
They called the pass interference on that. That'll be a 15-yard penalty with 5:04 to play. And the Gold leading this one 10-0. McClellan committed the penalty. That'll move the football just across the 50-yard line. They're going to actually spot it right on the 50 with 5:04 to play. Alex Atkins, the offensive line coach and offensive coordinator, and that is very rare when you have an offensive line coach who also serves as the OC. Even though Norvell's the play caller, Alex is designing the offense.
And I think all offensive line coaches should be coordinators. Well, you think about it, the offensive line is the only position on the field. Every single play is designed for you to go and hit somebody. You've got to find work as an offensive lineman. It's the only position on the field. Defensive linemen have plays where they drop into coverage or they try and run tricks. They don't want to get it. They want to do all the hitting. But an offensive lineman, your job is to go find work.
Tallahassee Democrat, the local paper here, only 10 offensive coordinators in the 65 Power 5 schools have offensive line backgrounds. Why do you think that is? Out of 65 schools in Power 5, only 10 have offensive line coaches involved as coordinators.
Well, coaching the offensive line is very difficult. And I think when you look at, like you said earlier, Coach Norvell is calling the plays. When you're an offensive line coach, there's so many different things that you're teaching, that you're watching, so many adjustments that you have to make during the game. So I think when you talk about being a coordinator, calling the plays and dictating what's going on play-wise, it's very difficult to do both.
4 years ago, Memphis was playing Tulane. It was a game that most Florida State fans probably wouldn't have watched. And you probably wouldn't have recognized the significance of the game at the time. It was a Friday night game in New Orleans, and Tulane ran for 318 yards against Norvell in Memphis. And he said, who is the guy coaching that offensive line for Tulane, right? For Willie Fritz's team. That was Alex. And a couple years later, Mike's here at Florida State and says, I remember that Friday night in New Orleans. Who was that guy that had that blocking scheme and those dudes for Tulane blocking my Memphis guys? And that's what he's trying to get here too, that fire and that passion up front.
And it's interesting you say that because you can get seen and noticed when you're not looking to get seen and noticed. And Jared Verse is another case. When we talked to the coaching staff about finding Jared Verse, they said they were looking at film of Syracuse as they were getting ready to play them, and they were playing Albany, and Jared Verse continued to flash throughout that film, and they said nobody could block him. And so you look in the portal and you see him there and you're like, oh my God, this is the guy that we saw on film. Let's try and go get him.
Toafili's getting a film today. He gets another long run. Let's go down to the sidelines again to Larisha.
Jamie, how has spring practice been for you this year?
Well, I mean, spring practice really been great. You know, I've just been trying to step up as a leader. You know, I made a big decision to come back for my senior year. But I feel like I made the best decision for me and my family just to come in and just help lead the guys and focus on some technique things, you know. We got a word for our defensive back group, and that's technicians. So we really focus on technique. That's our main thing. And just working and staying injury-free, that's my main focus this year.
Talking to Jamie Robinson, a defensive back for the Seminoles. When you think about this room, the defensive back room, and all of the talent that you guys have there, how would you describe it?
We got a lot of talent. It's really hard because I feel like all the guys can go somewhere and play and be an instant starter. But honestly, I feel like we got some young guys came in. You got AZ, you got Sam McCall, you got Keem, he been here with me. Jarquez, you got Shaheem, J-Dub, the whole group. I feel like everybody been making strides and we just been competing. I feel like the depth, that really sparked up a competition in the group. And that's the main thing. We all compete, we do what we got to do, and we just get through the day, every day.
You are here. You see everyone here for this spring game. How would you describe this atmosphere?
It's really lit. I feel like we playing Notre Dame right now or something like that. It's a good crowd. Everybody here showing out. My mom in the stands, my family, you know. It's a good day today for sure.
Thank you so much, Jamie. Good luck this season.
Thank you so much.
They're really high on Jamie Johnson. You know, he had one of his better games, their last game against Florida at the end of the year. It was a game the Noles lost, but he had, 18 tackles in that game. He's really emerged as a leader for the Noles. And there is Pittman. He gets it in for the score. Pittman gets it in for the touchdown with just 2:12 to play.
And a good job on the lead block by Preston Daniel, number 45. That's what you're looking for from your guys on the outside, the tight ends. You've got to also be able to put your hand down in the ground and knock people off the football. And so I like what I'm seeing from the tight end position as well. Not only catching the football, but blocking as well.
He's another ex-Oregon Duck scoring for the Noles. 16-0 the goal team with the lead. And Fitzgerald in to attempt the PAT. $17-0 is the score. The Gold has the lead over the Garnet here at Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee. Been a good day for Jordan Travis and the Florida State offense. It took them a while to get going, but Forrest, when they got going, they looked darn good.
Well, the running backs are falling forward. The offensive line looks like they know what they're doing. They're knocking people off the football, and they're giving Jordan Travis a pocket to pass the football.
Dylan Gibson is the senior offensive lineman who's had a good day today and a really nice career for FSU. Dylan's on the field with Larissa.
Dylan, this is your 5th spring game, you told me.
Yes, ma'am.
You know what it takes to get things done. How has that development been for a lot of the younger guys that you guys have on the team?
Well, it's been great to see the progression here at Florida State within our offensive line room. For me, I'm stepping up, becoming more of a leader, bringing some more guys along with me. I'm instilling in them to be the most intelligent, most violent player out there on the football field.
Where do you feel like you've improved the most in your game?
Again, just bringing guys along with me, inspiring people on a daily basis, being the same guy in and out, no matter what season we're in, spring football. But again, this is just practice number 14. Being a spring game, all the hype around it's all great. But we're out here getting better each and every day.
What is the potential that this offensive line has?
Unlimited. We have all the talent in the world. You know, being here in the state of Florida, recruiting some of the biggest recruits you could possibly, want as an offensive line coach. Coach Atkins has done a great job compiling this group. I'm looking forward to everyone progressing and getting better before we get here in the fall. Again, a very, very high ceiling.
Thank you so much, Dylan.
Yeah, no problem at all. Thank you for having me.
You like him a lot. And Robert Scott at the other end, you mentioned them as somewhat of the alpha males of that O-line.
Well, I like the beard, first of all. You got to have a Grizzly Adams beard, so I love that. But what I love about the offensive line and what I've seen so far is guys are punching. They're not catching. There was too much catching going on. They're punching now. They're keeping the defensive linemen at bay. They're getting good extension with their hands. They're keeping their heads out of it. You've got to be able to see what you're blocking. You can't just run in there with your head down. And on the outside, once again, the tackles are doing a better job of getting 3 kick steps before you open that outside shoulder. When you get those 3 kick steps, what you'll do, Bill, is you're now at the quarterback's level. Open that outside shoulder and run those defensive ends past the quarterback. Now he can go from side to side. He's got the width of the pocket, and with the guards in the center being stout at the point of attack, he can step into those throws. And all that does is allow for Jordan to be the best quarterback that Jordan can be. So the continued development and the continued cohesiveness of this offensive line will determine how far this offense goes.
Is it a big, powerful offensive line, or are they going to have to rely more on their quickness and technique, at least early this season? How do you see them?
Well, they have to rely more on their quickness and technique. And I think what you're going to see also is guys be able to get up to that second and third level of the defense. That is where great plays are made. Of course you want to see the knockout punches at the point of attack, but there are plays where the guards have to get up and cover up those linebackers. Because of the dynamic backs that Florida State has and the dynamic ball carriers, when you've got these big fellas getting down the field, 290, 300-pound guys, they can cover up these DBs, and DBs don't want to see guys like that coming at them. They're ducking to get out of the way. They're making business decisions, and that's what you want to do. Make defenses make business decisions.
I think they're pretty happy to have a guy like Gibbons in that locker room and in that weight room and in those meeting rooms, because that's a senior. This is his last go-around. Like most offensive linemen, very proud. Not probably happy with the record the last couple of years. He can make a difference this fall as a senior.
Absolutely, and like I said, it starts with being grown man and playing grown man football and understanding you are the dynamic of the offense. You are the gatekeeper to success. And as long as they realize that and they continue to play together, they've still got some more talent coming in. We talked about Armella earlier. They've got some more talent coming in, and I think the competitive nature within the offensive line is what's going to push them to where they want to be.
During the run, holding, defense, number 16, 10-yard penalty, added to the end of the run, first down.
So another penalty. Benson has been the leading rusher today with 77 yards. It hasn't been a big explosive offense today. There haven't been a whole lot of big plays, but as the game has gone on, the offense has gotten into a rhythm here today.
And I think for the fans, they want to see scoring all over the field, but for the coaching staff, they're going to look at film, they're going to look at technique, they're going to look at guys knowing where they need to go. And like Dylan just said, there are only 14 practices in. So what you're looking at is the big picture.
Roadmaker, a deep ball on cue. I was hoping we'd get a big play. Well, what they do is, you're exactly right. They're going to look at the film now, because once camp opens, we don't play with 17 receivers and 11 tight ends. They're going to whittle it down, right, to maybe 6 to 8 receivers and probably 4 tight ends and 4 backs.
Absolutely. And so you've got to take every opportunity, because what the old saying is, the eye in the sky does not lie.
Right.
So when they look at film, they're going to see who is taking those steps. And what they do is they look at the film from the first practice of spring, and they look at the mistakes that guys made that first practice. And then they go and look at the last practice of spring in the spring game, and they see if those guys are still making those same mistakes.
Here's a big play inside the 20, and that'll be enough for the first down to the 18-yard line for Campbell. C.J. Campbell's a redshirt freshman from Bay High School, Panama City, Florida, was the longest run of the day.
And Marquiston Douglas makes another good block on the outside, another tight end stepping up, putting his hand in the ground, and going and finding work. And that is what you're looking for when you look at film.
Derrick Mcclendon made the tackle on the ground again to the 10-yard line with 15 seconds remaining.
And one thing that stood out all afternoon is every back has continued to fall forward. So that lets you know they're running behind their pads and running with aggression.
The clock has expired, but I think they're going to let them run one more play. In fact, if Coach Norvell wants to run 2 more, they'll probably let him do it, right?
Absolutely, he wants to run 10 more.
They tell us they're gonna let them play till they score, and that's overthrown on the right side of the end zone, intended for Johnny Wilson.
And I still want to see that corner route. If you've got a receiver that's 6'7", let him run that corner route. Get him manned up on the outside. They've got him in the boundary right now. Get him manned up on the outside. Let him go to that corner. Tell your quarterback, throw it up, and let's see if he can go get it.
Well, what Wilson does at 6'7" in a situation like this, not only is he a threat to throw it to him, but he's a great decoy, right? Because the defense, you can't load up on everybody man on man. That's a touchdown for Williams. DJ Williams, the touchdown on the final play of this second quarter. The Auburn transfer scores for the Garnet team.
Thank you very much, offense. I wanted to say touchdown, Florida State.
And one more extra point. And Fitzgerald adds the PAT and makes it a 24-0 game here at Doak Campbell Stadium, the Garnet and Gold spring game on the campus of Florida State. 24-0, the final score of today's Garnet and Gold Florida State spring game. Our first look at the 2022 Florida State Seminoles, who have hopes of turning things around. Coach Norvell, the fans are ready, that's for sure. You know, Lawrence Toafili's a kid from Pinellas Park High School. That's in St. Petersburg, Florida. Showed us what he could do last year, and he showed us again today, didn't he?
Well, I've always been impressed with his running style. He just needed to add a little bit more muscle, a little bit more bulk. He runs upright, but he's such a shifty runner. He reminds me once again of Edgar Bennett. He's very good body control, very good vision. And the expectation for him this year is to play well. And when the coaching staff, when the head coach says that, that means you have been very impressive in preparation and getting his body right and where it needs to be to take on all of that contact.
When you look at his body and his style now, since the Florida game, right? So Thanksgiving weekend back in November, that's 4 or 5 months ago now. You can see the difference, can't you?
Absolutely, and that's what's off-season training. That's what dedicating, yourself with eating right. And that's, when you look at the Florida State weight program, you have to look at the weightlifting coach and what he's done to help him to develop and put himself in a position to be the player that we all know he has the capability of being. But you've got to be able to take that contact. You've got to be able to bounce off of would-be tacklers. You've got to be able to run through arm tackles. And I think he's working towards that.
Coach Norvell was very, very impressed with Toafili's work ethic. In fact, he talked about that with a lot of his guys, like what he has seen. He said, the way that Florida game ended, it still bugs him a little bit. But he loved the way his team responded after the 0-4 start last year. He loves the kids that he's got in his program.
Well, you've got to think, these kids have gone through the COVID seasons where you didn't have spring practice, you didn't have an opportunity to develop and get better. This is the third year in Coach Norvell's system, and I think now you'll see the kids continue to develop and see the potential start to show itself on the field, and they believe in what they're doing. And that goes a long way with development. When you believe in what you're doing, you develop more because you're putting the effort in to be better.
Pressure might not be the right word, but it's expectations at Florida State for a coach. Mike knows that this is an amazing opportunity to turn this and to get it back probably quicker than you could at a lot of different places because of the recruits that he's bringing in.
Well, I think pressure is a part of it. When you coach at Florida State University, they expect you to win championships, and that's what it's all about, winning championships. But it's pressure that you love as a competitive coach, and I think Coach Norvell has accepted the challenge. He likes the opportunity. He likes the expectations.
Fans looking at that, they go, my goodness, FSU's had 4 straight losing seasons. That's almost impossible to comprehend for so many. But as you look at it completely objectively, that likely changes this fall.
Absolutely. I expect this team to play extremely well. They've got a great opportunity, the second game of the season in New Orleans against LSU, which will basically be a home game for LSU. If they can go in and win that football game, I think that sets this team up for the rest of the season to not only be competitive, but be a team that we're talking about in December.
You've got a new coach in Gainesville. You've got a new coach in Coral Gables.
Who cares?
My point is, from a recruiting standpoint, this is an interesting time in this state, right, for programs to develop, and Mike's kind of got a head start on that compared to the other 2 schools.
But that's the thing, that they've got to have that attitude. Who cares? We don't care about anybody but Florida State University. That's the attitude that this team has to have. That's the attitude that the coaching staff has to have. That's the attitude that the players have to have. You can't worry about what anybody else has, what they're building, what they're doing. You've got to build from within. You've got to know when you step on the field, you're the best team on the field. You're going to knock somebody off the football, and you're going to live up to the tradition, the things that made you want to become a Florida State Seminole.
Let's look at the schedule again. Let's go through it. This is the 2022 Florida State schedule. Starting, that's actually a week 0 game, August 27th with Duquesne. Then the LSU game in New Orleans. Let's walk through that schedule. Louisville on the road. That's always a tough game, isn't it?
That quarterback is extremely good. It's a great challenge for this defense, their first away game. Second away game, but first ACC game. The Duquesne game, I think, has helped them get on the road to a victory and helped them be prepared to play that LSU game.
BC here, Wake Forest, which had such an incredible season, what that'll be like. And FSU fans know how, my goodness, so many close games last year.
Well, when you look at the Notre Dame game, they should have won that game. The Jacksonville State game, they should have won that game. The Syracuse game, they should have won that game. They won that game, but the Florida game, they should have won that game. Right there. They're not like they were just blown out in these games. There were just one or two plays that the offense or the defense did not make. Because we're looking at 3-3 right here, we could be looking at 6-0. So they're one or two plays away, and you have to look at that and use that as your motivator moving forward.
Well, they got a quarterback, and we saw what Travis did last year at times, and we saw what Jordan did again today. He's only getting more and more confident. What did you see in Travis today that you liked, Forrest?
Well, he knows where he wants to go with the football. He's precise with his passing. He's not hesitant, and he looks like he's a lot more comfortable back there with the offensive line. He knows when to run the football, and he knows when to get down. That's the only concern for him is making sure he doesn't take extra contact.
Oh, they love this guy in West Palm Beach. We love him too. He's down on the field with Larissa.
Jordan, what will be your overall evaluation of how this spring game went for you today?
I feel like the spring game went good. Every opportunity that I had to come out here with my teammates and just get back on Bobby Bowden Field and play football. It's a blessing. Every day I get to wake up and walk in this stadium. I'm blessed. I'm thankful. Yes, ma'am.
Where would you say you've grown the most in your 3 seasons under head coach Mike Norvell? Where have you grown the most?
I would say becoming a leader. I've been very outspoken this spring, just encouraging my teammates to get better every single day. Every day is not always positive. It's not always great. We got to keep going. We're living something that other people in the world would be loving, that would love to live this type of stuff. So we're blessed. I just try to encourage everyone to get better every single day.
You have a true freshman in A.J. Duffy. What have you seen from him that's impressed you the most?
I would just say the way he throws the football. He throws the football better than anyone I've seen in my life, especially for someone that young. It's so impressive. I think Tate, Gino, I think they did a good job of just encouraging him to get better every single day. He's maturing more and more every single day, and you see it. We were so blessed to have him here.
As you look at this upcoming summer and the fall, how good can this offense be?
We could be one of the top offenses in the nation if we come to work every single day and get better every single day. Coach Norvell emphasizes getting 1% better every single day, and I think we've done a great job this spring. We just got to have confidence and come out here and ball.
So when you look at this team, you have a lot of new additions, right? Who from this team that's new has stepped up and impressed you the most?
I would say everyone has done a great job. All the young guys, we got someone coming down. Yes, sir. I would say Micah Pittman, Johnny, those are my boys. They've done a great job of just fitting in with the team. They mold really well with this team. They're great guys. They come to work every single day. You got to love people like that. They're just hard workers and love the game.
What are your expectations heading into the fall?
Just keep getting better. Just keep getting better every single day and encouraging my guys to get better. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Like what you hear from the quarterback?
Absolutely. When he said, I'm outspoken, I'm a leader, you love to hear that from your quarterback because everybody follows the quarterback's lead.
These are his numbers from a year ago. Again, as we talked about at the top of our show, that was the 5th highest completion percentage of every ACC quarterback last year. In fact, only 5 guys in the entire league threw for 1,500 and ran for 500. And 22 touchdowns he scored, and he only turned it over 6 times. That's encouraging.
Keep him upright, you've got a chance to win every single ball game that he's in.
Jordan Travis, quarterback for the Florida State Seminoles. He did it today. He'll be the starting quarterback when the season kicks off this fall in Tallahassee. While the spring game has officially concluded, what they're doing out at Florida State, they're going to have a little fun here. They're going to get some of their alums back to call plays. E.J. Manuel's going to call the plays on offense. There will be no running plays.
Absolutely not. Everything's going to be a bomb.
Everything is going to be a deep ball. And it's going to be fun to see how those guys play. All right, Fabian Lovett's down on the field, the tremendous defensive lineman, junior with Larissa.
Fabian, how has this spring been for you?
It's been great, learning a lot, keeping up and polishing up on my technique and just not letting everything go to waste. Even improving, helping with the young guys also.
If you had to describe the difference between last year and this year as it pertains to the defense, how would you describe it?
I feel like we're closer and we're learning it better. We have a lot of guys that came back, so it's catching on easier. We're able to coach ourselves and be able to help the young guys in the process also.
When you think about some of the young guys who have come into this program, who would you say has really transitioned well?
On the defense side of the ball or just as a whole?
Defense.
That's tough because we have a lot of young guys that came in and played. We have a lot of young guys that came in and are playing well and adjusting fast. So I'll probably say Bishop, Azari, the DB number 20, and probably Daniel Lyons. We have Pat. We have a lot. It's just so many that I really just can't name one personally.
When you think about this defense and the growth that you all have had, how good can you all be?
We could be the best, honestly. We have a lot of guys that came back, so I feel like it's just a repeating process, and I feel like at the end of the day, I feel like we'll be better as a team as we just keep going and keep learning and being able to help the young guys, because if they play good, we play good. It makes our job easier.
Thank you so much, Fabian.
No problem. Thank you.
Fabian Lovett, the coaches were talking about the fact that they have, if the season started now, they feel comfortable that they have 5 defensive ends and basically 6 defensive tackles, 11 guys. And you might say as a fan, well, why do we need 11? Well, over the course of the season, you do need more than just 5 or 6 guys, and that's the depth that they think they're getting here on the defense.
Well, as an offensive lineman, the one thing that's tough is blocking a defensive lineman, defensive end, defensive tackle with fresh legs. So when you've got someone that's coming in from the defensive end position that is a speed rusher, and then you continue to bring different guys in, it's very difficult to kind of get a good fit and get good blocking schemes.
What do you think overall defensively? You've watched them practice several times. We saw them today.
Well, I like the pressure from the defensive line. It allows for the linebackers to be great and flow downhill, and it also allows for the defensive backs to play more aggressive on the back end because the quarterbacks have to get rid of the football quicker when you've got line pressure.
Who we had a chance to visit with, terrific defensive coordinator, said, I really feel like we were in sync for the first time on defense. Last year, maybe we were in sync 4 out of 5 plays, and that scares you as a defensive coordinator, right? Because that one you miss, that's the bust that can cost you in those close games.
Well, you've got maturity on that defensive line. You talk about Fabian Lovett, Robert Cooper, some of these guys that have been around the program for so long. Derrick Mcclendon, the sophomore, he stood out and made a lot of plays. The defense is looking forward to getting Dennis Briggs back on the field from injury. 6'4", 280 pounds, long arms that can get great extension on offensive linemen. So they've got so many weapons, and they've got really, really good height. And when you talk about height, you talk about long arms and the ability to get inside hands and control those offensive linemen.
Cooper's going to be a different player, too, because he was probably a bit overweight. Is that fair to say?
Yes, but when you look at him now
he's a totally different guy.
He's one of the best 335-pound guys I've ever seen.
By the way, I wouldn't tell him that to his face. No, but I mean the relationship that he's had with his coaches, right? Like 3 years ago, he wasn't like the picture-perfect guy that you'd want as a defensive tackle, and now look at him. My goodness, the NFL people are going 91's a dude.
Well, he reminds me of Derrick Nottie. He's that same body type, a big kid that can clog up those zero gaps and occupy space. When you can occupy space, you don't give opposing backs any lanes to run in those A gaps, and you continue to allow those linebackers to flow down.
Yeah, so Big Coop, so opposing offensive coordinators, that's going to be a problem every week, right?
You got a game plan.
That's a guy we're not running there.
We're not going to be able to knock him off the ball, so we can't run in those A gaps. And I think that is what is going to help this defense.
I think of, like a Ron Brace kind of guy. I mean, it totally changes the game just from being in there.
Well,
or a Raji. I'm trying to think ACC guys that we've seen, or guys that you've had here.
Let me see, a guy during the time, Derrick Nottie is a guy.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same body type. Who's another guy? I wouldn't say so much Timmy Jernigan because he was more a muscle strong guy. Jernigan was probably about 280, 285. But the thing that I see with Cooper, once again, is the development from the first day he got here until now. His body has changed, and that comes with dedication. And the coaches talked about him being a film junkie and studying film. And that is what makes a great player, understanding the offense and the defense.
Yeah, well said. Larissa, let's bring you into this conversation. I think the Florida State defense looks to be much improved from a year ago.
For sure, they definitely seem to be much improved, and I think a lot of guys have a lot of confidence in the things that they've learned and what they've done so far this spring. One guy in particular who I talked to, Dennis Briggs, he is a huge video gamer, right? And so I asked him, if you had to build your perfect defensive tackle, defensive end on Madden, who would it be? And he said, Aaron Donald for vision. He can process information on the field. Fletcher Cox for explosiveness. He is a force to be reckoned with. DeForest Buckner for his length. He plays with his size. And the last person, guys, you wouldn't even guess. Tariq Hill because of his speed.
Enough said, yeah. You know, and there's a perfect example. Like a guy like Briggs in this system's probably more of a defensive end for FSU, right?
Absolutely.
He's an end here for them now. Okay, there's Briggs, number 6. He'll be coming after you in the ACC this fall. Back with more in a moment.
Welcome back to the Florida State spring game. I'm standing beside Jermaine Johnson, the 2021 ACC Defensive Player of the Year. How would you describe what you've seen so far during this spring game today?
I mean, it's awesome. You can see the culture's there. The culture's been set, and, you know, they're just going to continue to keep carrying that on. So now we're just building on talent and skill set and technique. So, I mean, these guys, they just got to win their one-on-ones and just carry that that mindset that they are, you know, they're monsters and they're the best on the field. And that's kind of the culture we instilled last year, and you can see clearly it's going on. These guys compete day in, day out. I mean, it's just out here. I'm over here dancing with the team. I mean, these guys are focused. They're ready to go. They're playing physical. They're playing fast and smart. So, I mean, I'm excited for this team.
If there was a message you had to give to some of the defensive players this year about what it takes to really win or what it takes to really push through during the season, what would that message be?
Put the team first. When you play for something bigger than yourself, you're going to go that much harder. You know, when you start getting individualized, then, you know, it's easier to give up. But when you're playing for a purpose bigger than yourself, which is that symbol on your helmet, that spear on your helmet, you're going to go that much harder. So just play for something bigger than yourself. I'm a religious man, so in my case, I mean, if you're religious, keep God first. You know, he'll work wonders, but keep the team first, keep God first. I mean, you can't go wrong, and you know, when you keep the team first, all your individual things will fall after. Just keep that team first and give it all for them.
What's one thing that has stuck with you since you've gone on from here that Coach Mike Norvell has instilled in you?
You control your response, right? And that carries with me through every walk of life. And he's always told me that since day one. If something happened in practice or something, you know, I get a little emotional, you know, control your response. You're in control of that. So, I mean, that's something he instills in this whole program is control your response. And I think these guys, they carry that with them every day. Big ball.
Who have you seen from the defense that has really stepped out to you today during this spring game?
Amari Gaynor, Kevin Noles, you know, 11 jersey always going to be popping. So, I mean, he's having a good spring game, and, you know, I'm excited to see 11 keep doing well. But, no, just this whole defense, the whole team, you can see they're gelled together. The culture's there. There's no cancels. Everything's on the up and up. So, I mean, I'm excited for this team. And when a team plays collective, a team plays together, and a team plays for more than just the individuals, it's better than that.